for everything that they have done to make today, in fact, possible. I'm proud to stand here with you and with Governor Pritzker, from whom you'll hear from shortly. I also want to acknowledge who is also present in court today, Deputy Governor Christian Mitchell. In January of this year, I announced that the Cook County State's Attorney's Office would be pursuing conviction relief for low-level, nonviolent cannabis offenses. In the months that followed, my office worked closely with legislators to ensure that the new law included the most broad and equitable conviction relief possible. And moments ago, we saw our work come to life when I filed the first motions to vacate these convictions in Cook County. Public policy impacts people, and today we saw it happen. These convictions consist of standalone misdemeanor convictions, the lowest level of cannabis offenses. As a reminder, these are the cases of possessions of less than 30 grams or less, and where there was no violent offense involved. As a prosecutor who's previously prosecuted these cases, we must own our role in the harm that we have caused, and particularly to communities of color. And we must actively work to play our part in reversing those harms. Clearing those records is not only a critical part of righting the wrongs of the failed war on drugs, and what you heard today in the listing of those names are the casualties of that war, but it also must be an intentional step to give people the chance to move forward, which benefits all of our communities. As for me, this is deeply personal. Having served as an assistant state's attorney for 12 years, having stood at a similar podium and sought such convictions, having known people personally, my own mother, and realizing that the criminalizing of certain behaviors would have long-lasting effect, required me to go above and beyond simply saying that we would not prosecute these cases. That is the power of the prosecutor, the ability to use one's discretion to do good on behalf of the community. The collateral consequences of these convictions in Cook County, specifically to communities of color, have been far and wide, impacting everything from housing, employment, and education. Imagine for a moment having a low-level cannabis conviction on your record and always having to check a box on a job or housing application that asks, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Today, that's about to change for a lot of people who will be getting a chance at a fresh start. We started with more than 1,000 convictions today because, quite frankly, this is a brand new process. As state's attorney in Illinois, we've never been able, until today, to move for relief en masse. This is truly, truly historic, and that this today, on behalf of thousands, tens of thousands, and potentially hundreds of thousands of individuals, that we will be able to find relief. And we've never before, until this effort, partnered with groups like Code for America, a nonprofit organization, tech organization that has assisted our efforts in making conviction relief more efficient here in Cook County. But I want to be clear, this is just the first step in the single largest piece of criminal justice reform that Illinois has ever seen. And it is why I'm so honored to have the governor and Representative Cassidy and Toy Hutchinson here with us today. And we're proud to be partnering with Code for America to help make this happen. To provide some context, we handle approximately 19,000 petitions for conviction relief each year in Cook County. That's about 1,500 a month. Today, we process more than 1,000 petitions in one sitting. Because this process is unprecedented and revolutionary in form, size, and scale, we need to get it right. That means starting with the small batch today and ramping up to ensure each of our justice system partners is comfortable with their role in the process and that everything is working smoothly. By the time that we are done, I'm so proud that we will have cleared tens of thousands of records in Cook County alone, if not more. As you know, the new cannabis law goes beyond conviction relief and beyond Cook County. I also want to take a moment before I turn it over to Governor Pritzker to thank the Chief Judge's Office for their collaboration and cooperation in this effort, to thank Clerk Brown and the assistants in the clerk's office who helped us as well, to the assistant state's attorneys and the administrators on our policy team who took a vision for an equitable and fair justice system and made it a reality today. At this time, I want to thank again Governor Pritzker for his leadership on this important statewide issue and welcome him to the podium for his remarks. Governor Pritzker.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much to State's Attorney Kim Foxx, who has played really such a critical role in this entire process, not just in its implementation, but in its creation through the legislative process, advocating for the most extensive and meaningful conviction relief possible. And the Cook County State's Attorney's Office has continued to lead the way in reform with its innovative partnership with Code for America in delivering cannabis conviction relief. Thanks also to the years-long effort by activists and by advocates and the courage of our partners on both sides of the aisle in the General Assembly. As a result of their work, Illinois now has the most forward-thinking and equitable approach to cannabis legalization in the entire nation. A criminal record carries with it more than stigma. It prevents people from being considered for job opportunities, for getting a loan or a mortgage, from renting an apartment, from applying for financial aid for college, from getting a professional license, and more. In sum, it can crush a person's ability to live a full and dignified life. Statewide, hundreds of thousands of Illinoisans are held back by their low-level cannabis-related records, a burden disproportionately shouldered by communities of color. And hundreds of thousands of others have had to watch their friends and their loved ones struggle because of an arrest or a conviction that they got for something that will be legal starting on January 1st. This is to say nothing of the fact that arrest rates and prosecution have never reflected consumption rates across racial lines. We will never be able to fully remedy the depth of the unfairness and the damage that it's visited upon so many families. But we can govern our state with the courage to admit the mistakes of our past and the decency to correct the record and set a better path forward. Today marks another important step in righting the injustices of the past. The 1,012 names that State's Attorney Foxx began to read in the courtroom represent 1,012 real people who will be given a second lease on life. And this is only the beginning. So before we take questions, I want to remind everyone that yesterday kicked off the application window for a new group of cannabis dispensaries and a chance for new entrepreneurs to succeed in this new market. Social equity applicants will be eligible for the 75 licenses that will be granted in the next few months, and they'll be able to get business loans to get off the ground, funded by the existing industry. Applicants have until January 2nd to submit their applications for a cannabis dispensary. Now and in the coming weeks, our Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity will be hosting workshops across the city of Chicago and throughout the state to answer questions and to assist applicants. In fact, I was pleased to see that we had a full house at the workshop that was held in Englewood on Monday night. And before I introduce the next speaker, I want to take a moment to recognize the solemnity of the proceedings that we witnessed today in Judge Evans' courtroom. We honored the victims of the war on drugs, and we will continue to do so in the days and weeks and months ahead.
Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx. filed motions to release individuals that have been arrested with at least 30 grams of marijuana. And it was historical to the point that Tim Evans was the chief judge. Clerk Dorothy Brown, the clerk of the court, was there. The governor, J.B. Pritzker, Tory Hutchinson, and Representative Cassidy, they were the ones that pushed for the cannabis legislation that's now law. It's just the first step, but the most important thing, those individuals that had minor marijuana cases will no longer have that on their record. So I want to say, being here 26 in California and seeing this historical event is a great thing for me. And I'm Wallace Gator Bradley, host of the Bradley Report and the Urban Translator. And I say, for all of you that are registered to vote, it's very important that you come out and you vote March 17th, 2020, to re-elect Kim Foxx, the state's attorney of Cook County. Her platform is criminal justice reform, public safety, fair prosecutions. To God be the glory. Vote, don't choke.